Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are cracking open a topic that feels deceptively simple. Compliments.
Right.
We're not just scratching the surface. We're going deep into the surprising art and science behind saying nice things to people and, just as importantly, hearing them.
That's right. We've gathered quite a stack of sources, articles, research, some really insightful notes that reveal how these, seemingly small interactions hold incredible power.
Mm-hmm.
For many of us, I think, giving a compliment can feel awkward, and receiving one, that can be even harder sometimes.
Exactly. So the material we've been looking through gets into all of it. Why compliments truly matter, how to give them so they actually, land.
Yeah.
Why it feels so difficult to accept them sometimes. How to navigate those tricky moments like backhanded compliments.
Oh, yeah.
And then ultimately how to get better at both sides of this exchange.
So our mission for this deep dive really is to distill the core insights from all this material. The goal is to help you feel more comfortable, maybe more confident, and definitely more skillful when it comes to both offering praise and receiving it gracefully.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Yeah.
First off, why do compliments matter so much? Are they just sort of fluffy, nice to have?
Far from it, actually. The material consistently highlights that compliments tap into really fundamental human needs. They make both the giver and the receiver feel seen, valued, appreciated. It's a powerful form of social connection.
And the impact on the receiver, it goes way beyond just a fleeting smile, right?
Oh, absolutely. Research points to pretty significant boosts in mood, improved self-esteem, and in the workplace. Getting specific, sincere praise can really increase job satisfaction and engagement.
Makes sense.
And what's truly fascinating here, some studies suggest receiving a compliment actually activates brain regions linked to reward.
Like actual brain chemistry.
Yeah, much like receiving, say, a monetary reward.
Yeah.
There's even a suggestion this brain activity could potentially aid in learning. So, telling someone they did a great job might literally help, wire their brain to repeat that good performance.
Okay, so it's not just a social convention. There might be a real, tangible cognitive benefit. That's surprising. But it's not just a one-way street, is it? The giver also benefits.
Absolutely. Offering a sincere compliment can genuinely lift your own mood and kind of encourages a mindset of gratitude, strengthens relationships, and it's one of the easiest ways to actively put positivity out into the world. It really is a gift that benefits everyone involved.
So if they're so great for everybody, what stops us? Why don't we give them more often? I know I often think of a compliment, but, don't always say it out loud.
That's incredibly common.
Yeah.
And the sources touch on why. Sometimes it's linked to a bit of, imposter syndrome, feeling like you're not qualified to praise someone else's work or talent.
Like, who am I to compliment their writing when I struggle with emails, that kind of thing.
Precisely. But often, it's actually much simpler. People just dramatically underestimate the positive impact their words will have.
Really? They just don't think it matters that much.
Yeah, or they might fear appearing insincere, or they just assume their positive thought isn't a big deal to the other person. The material suggests we often hold back just because we don't realize the power we actually hold to make someone's day.
Okay, so how do we push past that hesitation then? How do we give compliments that truly land and feel meaningful?
This is probably the most crucial takeaway from all the material. The absolute, non-negotiable core is sincerity.
Right.
A compliment must be honest and genuinely felt. Fake compliments, they're usually pretty easy to spot and can damage trust more than they help.
And hand in hand with sincerity is specificity. This seems like the real secret sauce.
Exactly. It's not enough to just say good job or you look nice.
Too vague or...
Right. You need to pinpoint what you liked. Giving a specific detail shows you are actually paying attention, and it makes the compliment feel personal, authentic.
So instead of a generic good board minutes...
One example suggests trying, great work on those board minutes. It was the first time I read them cover to cover. They were so clear.
Okay.
Or, I really admired how calmly you handled that tough question during your presentation. Tie it to something concrete.
That feels much more impactful, definitely. The material also noted that while compliments are personal, many common ones actually follow simple, predictable patterns in English.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? We often use structures like, your noun is really adjective, or I love your noun phrase. And if you think about the most common positive words used, nice, good, pretty, great, beautiful, and verbs like, love, admire, it shows there's almost a kind of template, Yeah. But like we said, it's the sincerity and specificity that elevate it from just filling in the blanks to a genuine piece of appreciation.
Right. The structure is just the vehicle. Okay, now we have to talk about appropriateness. You can't just compliment anything anywhere, can you?
Definitely not. Context and your relationship are absolutely key. In professional settings, for instance, appearance-based compliments can be, well, tricky waters.
Yeah, I can see that.
The material strongly suggests focusing on skills, effort, or personality traits instead. Things like, I admire your dedication, or you have such a knack for explaining complex ideas. Those are safe bets and incredibly meaningful.
And if you are complimenting appearance, maybe in a less formal setting, phrasing matters.
Absolutely. Focus on an item. That's a beautiful dress. I love the color.
Yeah.
Rather than a direct comment on the person's body or appearance like, you look gorgeous in that dress. Unless, of course, it's a very close relationship where that's totally appropriate and welcomed.
Got it.
And you absolutely must avoid sensitive or taboo topics. Things like weight, you look skinnier, perceived income, your car looks expensive, or anything that could possibly be misinterpreted as unwanted flirtation. The sources are very clear. Steer clear of those.
Good advice. Very clear. The material also touched on some interesting gender differences in compliment giving.
It did. It noted that some research suggests women tend to give more compliments than men overall. And women often compliment other women more frequently on appearance, especially in informal settings. Men, on the other hand, might focus more on performance or possessions, according to some studies. Also, it's apparently less common to compliment someone higher up than you in a hierarchy.
Interesting observations.
Yeah, these are just observations from the sources reporting what was found in the research.
Okay, so what about those people who just deflect compliments? You know, you say something nice and they immediately brush it off or even disagree.
Ah, yes, that's a common challenge. One strategy the material suggests is maybe reframing the compliment to be about your feeling or the impact they had on you.
How does that work?
Well, it's harder for them to deflect your personal experience. For example, instead of, you play piano beautifully, maybe try, your piano playing made me feel so peaceful.
Oh, I like that.
Or, I genuinely couldn't have finished this project without you. You were a massive help. See? It's about your reaction.
Yeah, that shifts it nicely. It's about my response to them, not just a judgment on them.
Right. Other ideas included maybe subtly sneaking it in, like asking for their expertise. You're so good at this. How did you figure that out?
Kind of indirect.
Exactly. Or mentioning that someone else said something positive about them. And sometimes just sending a compliment via text or email can take the pressure off the immediate in-person response for someone who struggles.
That makes sense. Gives them a bit of space to process it. Okay, let's flip it now. Why is it so darn hard for so many of us to simply accept a compliment?
This one resonates with a lot of people, I think. The material points to several potential reasons. Low self-esteem is a big one.
Okay.
If a compliment clashes with a negative self-image you hold, it can feel, well, unbelievable or even uncomfortable.
Like it doesn't compute?
Kind of.
Yeah.
And some people also worry that accepting praise sets a bar they won't be able to meet next time.
Ah, so the compliment itself can actually create anxiety.
It can, yeah.
Yeah.
Another really powerful factor is learned humility.
Learned humility.
Many of us are raised in cultures or families where downplaying praise is seen as the modest thing to do, while fully accepting it feels like boasting or arrogance, like you're putting yourself above others.
That's a tough script to unlearn, isn't it?
It really is. And beyond that, just general cultural norms around receiving compliments vary widely. In some cultures, outright acceptance might even be considered impolite.
Right.
The material also noted, again just reporting the findings, that some women may be specifically taught to deflect compliments, especially about appearance, possibly due to societal pressures or this fear that accepting praise about themselves might make others feel bad.
So it's often not just personal awkwardness, but could be these really deep-seated beliefs or cultural programming.
Exactly.
Given all that, then, how do we get better at receiving compliments gracefully? What's the advice?
Well, the simplest, most consistent advice across pretty much all the sources is this. Just say thank you.
That's it.
That's the core. Don't overthink it. Don't analyze it for hidden meanings. Just acknowledge the kindness being offered.
Just a simple thank you. That's the foundation.
That's the foundation. You can add a little warmth if you like, naturally, with phrases like, that's very kind of you to say, or, oh, thank you, that makes my day. Something like that.
And I assume body language plays a part, too.
Absolutely. You want to support your verbal response with positive nonverbal cues? Smile, make eye contact, try not to cross your arms.
Open posture.
Right. One interesting suggestion from the material was maybe briefly putting your hand on your chest as a sort of physical way to signal that you're taking the compliment into your heart.
Oh, I love that image, taking it in. And what about this idea of owning it?
Yes, instead of minimizing your effort or abilities, the classic, oh, it was nothing, the material encourages you to actually acknowledge them.
So accepting isn't arrogant.
No, accepting a compliment isn't about being arrogant. It's about owning your worth and respecting the effort you put in, and also respecting the giver's observations.
But what if others helped? You don't want to take all the credit.
Good point. Share the credit where it's due. Definitely. But, crucially, don't erase your own contribution entirely.
Okay.
If it was a team project, something like, thank you, the team and I worked really hard on it, works well.
Right.
But if you genuinely had nothing to do with the praised aspect, like maybe presentation design someone else did, it's perfectly fine to redirect. Oh, thank you. That was actually our presentation designer's fantastic work.
That strikes a nice balance, humble but not, self-deprecating.
Exactly. And the material also framed receiving compliments as an opportunity to see yourself differently.
How so?
Well, the compliments you receive offer valuable external perspectives on how others genuinely perceive you. Reflecting on them can actually help build self-esteem, especially since our internal self-evaluations are often much, much harsher than how others see us.
So accepting a compliment can almost be an act of self-kindness, like incorporating that external validation.
Yes, I think so. And fundamentally, the better you feel about yourself generally, the easier it becomes to accept external praise without discomfort.
Okay. On the flip side then, what are the absolute no-goes? What should we definitely avoid when receiving a compliment?
Top of the list. Don't contradict or argue with it.
Resist the urge.
Yes. Responses like, oh, this old thing is ugly, or you should see my messy house, or it was nothing. Anyone could have done it. They essentially dismiss the compliment.
Right.
And that can make the giver feel awkward, or like you're rejecting their observation, even their kindness. Don't make them regret saying something nice.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
Also, avoid inappropriately deflecting credit. Don't give all the credit to an object or a tool if it was really your skill or effort, saying, oh, it's just my moisturizer. When someone compliments your glowing skin, if it's actually down to your health and habits, kind of shuts down the connection.
Interesting point. And avoid the immediate ping-pong compliment return.
Yes, that generic, nice shoes, followed instantly by you too, often feels a bit forced or insincere. If you want to return a compliment, make it specific and genuine, maybe after a slight pause, or even at a different moment in the conversation. And definitely skip sarcasm, so you finally notice that just kills the positive energy completely.
Oh, kills the vibe. Okay, so that covers genuine compliments, giving and receiving. But what about those less straightforward interactions, the backhanded compliments?
Oh, yes, the classic insult wrapped up in praise. You look great for your age, or that was competent work for you. These are tricky little social maneuvers.
How on earth do you respond to something like that? It feels so awkward.
It is. The material offered a few strategies. One is to pause, just take a beat, and then repeat the backhanded part back as a question, like, for my age, or competent work. For me. It puts the awkwardness right back on the giver to explain themselves.
Ooh, that feels bold, but I can see how it would highlight the rudeness.
It shifts the spotlight. If it's particularly egregious, you could even ask directly, maybe something like, did you mean for that to sound the way it did? Or a simpler, maybe more confident approach is just to say, thank you, period. It accepts the compliment part and elegantly ignores or disarms the insulting tag-on.
So you just choose to hear the positive bit?
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
You respond only to the positive aspect, refusing to engage with the negative part.
It sounds like the key is not letting their awkwardness or, frankly, rudeness dictate your response. You stay in control.
Absolutely. It's about handling the moment with grace and clarity on your terms. Now, thinking about all this positive feedback, the material we reviewed also helpfully broke down different types of positive feedback. This kind of sheds light on why some feel more impactful than others.
Oh, like different levels of praise?
Sort of, yeah. They distinguish between thanks, recognition, appreciation, and validation.
Okay.
Thanks is the most basic, just gratitude for a service, often pretty impersonal. Think of it as coming from your outer circle.
Okay, like thanking a barista for coffee.
Exactly. Then there's recognition. This is acknowledging a specific achievement or a completed task. It's often performance-based, maybe like a manager acknowledging a report you finished. It helps you learn what success looks like. and feel pride in an accomplishment.
Got it. More action-oriented praise.
Right. Now, appreciation is deeper.
Right.
It's more about evaluating a person or a situation, noticing character traits, skills, or qualities that go beyond just a specific task. This often comes from your closer circle, people who know you well. And it feels incredibly significant because it validates who you are, not just what you did. A sincere piece of appreciation, the sources suggest, can be truly life-changing for someone.
That makes so much sense. Someone's seeing a core quality in you, not just ticking off a completed task.
Yes. And finally, there's validation. This is about affirming a person's fundamental worth. But, and this is a critical point, the material makes true validation can only come from within yourself, through self-acceptance.
So external feedback gives you thanks, recognition, maybe that really powerful appreciation, but true validation, that's an internal job.
Precisely. Understanding these differences helps us see why some compliments might feel like, superficial recognition, while others land as profound appreciation. And it reminds us that ultimately, our deepest sense of worth has to come from within.
That adds a whole new layer to receiving praise, doesn't it? What if we want to help someone else, someone we care about, who really struggles to receive compliments?
Yeah, that's a good question. The material suggested a few things. First, maybe just model good behavior yourself, visibly and genuinely accepting compliments when you receive them.
Lead by example.
Exactly. Second, continue to offer them sincere, specific compliments, highlighting their good qualities and efforts. Don't give up just because they deflect. And third, if you have a close relationship with someone who consistently deflects, you might gently point out the pattern, maybe with kindness and curiosity, like, I notice you find it hard to accept praise sometimes. What's going on there?
Yeah.
It could open the door for a deeper conversation, but only if they seem open to it.
Gently does it. Okay, so to kind of bring this all together.
Well, it seems clear that compliments are far more than just polite words, aren't they? They're really powerful tools for connection, for affirmation. They're a gift we give and receive that meets fundamental human needs and has real psychological, maybe even cognitive benefits.
And becoming more comfortable with them is really a two-part journey. Learning to give genuine, specific compliments that truly make others feel seen and valued.
And just as importantly, learning to receive them with grace and self-acceptance, not out of ego, but out of owning your own worth and honoring the kindness of the person offering the praise. It's really about letting the good in.
This deep dive has certainly shifted my perspective on this, seemingly simple everyday act. Learning to navigate compliments feels like it could genuinely deepen our connections with others.
It truly could. It's a conscious choice, isn't it? To add more positivity, more recognition, and more genuine appreciation into our interactions every single day.
So what does this all mean for you listening? How might practicing giving and receiving compliments really allowing yourself to be seen and taking the moment to genuinely see others? How might that change the way you connect with people in your daily life? What small compliment could you offer or maybe allow yourself to truly receive today?